How's it going, everyone? I am back with another video. This is going to be my Super Bowl recap video. I know it's kind of late. It's almost 2 weeks after the Super Bowl. I've just been pretty slammed, very busy lately. Haven't had too much free time. So apologies for getting the video out late, just getting it out now. I talked about the Super Bowl. Dylan and I did a recap video, uploaded that 2 days ago now. If you're interested in check that out. Um, but yeah, doing my own review of the Super Bowl in this video, and let's just say that very, very happy at how this game played out. So I'll just start. I hate both of these teams. The Chiefs are definitely, without a doubt, my least favorite team. Out of the two, the Chiefs are my least favorite team in the entire league. I hate them. If you guys watch any of my videos, I probably at least once in all my videos, and maybe except the NBA, the trade talk video I did with Dylan, mention how much I hate the Chiefs. I cannot stand the Chiefs. You guys know this already, but I cannot stand the Chiefs. I hate Mahomes. Think he's the most overrated player in the history of sports. And that's not to say he's not elite. I just think he is so overrated. It's absolutely ridiculous. The Chiefs, I cannot stand them. The dynasty comparisons to us, the ridiculous GOAT comparisons Mahomes is getting to Brady. So this was so satisfying. Just watching them win the whole year, win in recent years. Obviously, they won the Super Bowl 2 years prior to this. They were going for the three-peat in this game. Just thank God the Eagles saved us all. And again, I don't like the Eagles either. Uh, Not an Eagles fan by any means. They're probably my second least favorite team, but I happily was rooting for them in this game. So happy they won. Just the Chiefs would have been beyond insufferable in the media too. If they had won this game and three-peated, the ridiculous GOAT debate would have heated up. The dynasty comparisons would have heated up. Just absolutely ridiculous if the Chiefs would have won this game. Thank God the Eagles literally saved us. And most people, I think, agree with me that no one liked the Chiefs, and no one outside of Philly for the most part likes the Eagles. But everyone, I think, was pulling for the Eagles, except if you're living in Kansas City. But yeah, I'm just very happy at how this game played out. The score, pretty much. Actually, the score itself is misleading because it was 40-6 with like 6 minutes left, and then the Chiefs got two garbage time touchdowns to make it look more respectable. The Chiefs played awful. They played one of the worst games, maybe the worst game I've seen them play in the Mahomes era. Honestly, I even think they probably played better against the Bucs in that beatdown of a Super Bowl, Super Bowl 55, when they lost 31-9. This game was just awful for them. The Eagles just absolutely kicked their ass. They just looked awful. Kansas City did. The Eagles just kicked their ass. And my friend Nate, he also hates the Chiefs. Shout out, Nate, if you're watching this video. Summed it up well by saying the Chiefs clearly had no business being in this game, it looked like, at least based off the result. And you know what? I agree, because I have said the entire year, I think they had the single luckiest season in the history of sports. I mean, they finished 15-2. If you look at that record, you're thinking, oh, they must be one of the best teams of all time. No, without a doubt, the worst 15-win team in the history of sports. I think a good majority of their wins came from pure luck. Let's see if I can remember them off the top of my head. Probably the most blatant luck instance was the Raiders fumble. I mean, the Raiders are awful. Yes, they're a division rival, but still, at home against the Raiders, and it was a short week, Black Friday, I guess, kind of a weird game, but you needed a lucky fumble that bounced off Aiden O'Connell's knee, and then they recovered it, and they were going to rule it a false start, so it wouldn't even have been a recovery for the Chiefs anyway, and they changed it to uh an illegal formation, whatever the hell they changed it to. I think it was an illegal formation, something like that. So they bailed the Chiefs out there, and not to mention Daniel Carlson, one of the most accurate kickers in the league, missed I think 3 field goals. So they were already lucky that they had the lead at that point. The Chargers, they get the field goal to bounce off the upright and go in. That was a little bit less lucky because it was a chip shot field goal. and it bounced on the inside rather than bouncing on the outside and going in. But still, I think a bit lucky there. The Bengals game got outplayed, got bailed out with a flag. Was it the correct call? You can argue it was. And again, I'm a Chiefs hater, so it sounds biased, but I don't think it was the correct call. But even if it was, that's basically, they're chucking a ball up 4th and long. You get bailed out with a PI call. Week 1 against the Ravens, Lamar misses Zay Flowers wide open. And then he also hits Isaiah Likely to go for 2 to win the game, and they ruled him out of bounds by a literal inch. With the Chiefs to stop the Ravens going for 2, who knows? Maybe they would have stopped him one anyway, but we don't know. Week 3 against the Falcons, the ridiculous, blatantly missed pass interference call on Kyle Pitts. And the Falcons still should have won that game if they had a bad play call by Zach Robinson running the ball to the outside on 4th and inches. Denver, and you can see the Chiefs made the play. They also made the play against Denver to block the field goal, but still should have lost that game. Just devil magic, if you don't want to call it luck. That's what a lot of people were calling it this year. The Bucs game, winning the coin toss in overtime. That's another. Of course, they win the coin toss. I feel like I'm missing some. I feel like I'm missing a couple. What am I missing here? What am I missing here? Okay, those are the ones I can think of. But my point is, and you can say that for every team too, but and again, I'm a Chiefs hater, so I'm biased. I've never seen a team get as much luck as the Chiefs did this season. Not to mention, the officiating. Everyone was on them the entire year for the Chiefs getting every single 50-50 call or questionable call to go their way. They were the benefactors of all of them. Everyone was saying it was rigged this season. So it was so satisfying to see them get their fucking asses kicked because I don't think they deserve to be in this game. Without a doubt, the worst 15-win team in sports history. Pure luck and referee friggin' calls, shit like that, gave them half their wins. I can't stand the Chiefs. And again, the Chiefs are a good team, obviously, an elite team, and they played good this season, but I do not think they should have been a 15-win team. I think if you take away the luck and ref things, stuff like that, they were mid. I think they finish around 11-6, like 2023, something like that. And for them to not be able to win a Super Bowl, the amount of luck they had, Dylan kind of talked about it in our podcast episode. He predicted that the Chiefs wouldn't make the conference championship and they might have a bit of a regression year. That's how I'm feeling too, because all the luck the Chiefs got, it's due to rear its ugly head. And Dylan made a comparison to the 2022 Vikings. They went 13-4. They had all the last minute one score come from behind possession wins, like I said, an NFL record for it. And then the playoffs they lost, and then the year after they started off 0-3, 3 really tough, unfortunate losses. They started to heat up, then Kirk Cousins got hurt. Then they went on a bit of a win streak with Josh Jacobs. Then they had some close losses, things like that. They had a regression that year, and they had some tough, unfortunate, maybe unlucky losses versus maybe they were getting some fortunate, I don't want to say lucky, but just fortunate wins the year prior. I could see something like that with the Chiefs. I don't think the Chiefs will miss the playoffs or anything like that next year. But hopefully you guys know what I mean. I think the Chiefs could have a bit of a regression year next year, especially because they have a very tough schedule. We don't know the week-to-week schedule, but we know their opponents. They play all the good teams, get a tough schedule. But anyway, I just went on my Chiefs rant here. Talking about this game specifically, it was close for a good portion. It was 10-0. I mean, I know I said the Chiefs played awful. They did, and their defense did not play well at all. But I don't think their defense played as bad as defense normally plays. They allow 40 points. And again, Mahomes threw a pick 6, and then he also threw a pick that, he also threw a pick that set the Eagles up right at the goal line. So I'm not really putting those on the defense, even though the defense technically allowed the second interception to lead to points. But I'm not really putting those on the defense. The Chiefs defense, again, they kept them in the game. It was 10-0. I believe it was actually 7-0. at when Hurts threw the interception. We'll take the Eagles were about to score, go up 2 scores. The Chiefs defense gets a pick. Every time it was close early on. Every time the Chiefs defense got a stop, and it's like, yep, here we go. Chiefs are gonna, go down the field, score offensively. It's gonna be, a ball game again. The Eagles defense kept stepping up and stopping them, and the Eagles defense played a hell of a game. Talked about it in my prediction video. I listed a bunch of stats. How Mahomes, his stats are, worse against Vic Fangio than any other coordinator. And Vic Fangio never had a defense as good as he had in this game. And Mahomes has never had, lesser offense, maybe with the exception of last year going against Fangio. So that had a recipe on paper to be a disaster for the Chiefs, and that's kind of how it played out. One of the worst offensive performances I've seen in my entire life watching football. And again, the 22 garbage, they got 6 points that weren't in garbage time. The rest of them came from garbage time. They got 16 points outside of that. That was when the Eagles were in prevent defense. They put the backups in, just playing super soft coverage. Those are how the Chiefs got 16 points. They only got 6 with the starters in there and the Eagles playing their normal type of defense. Chiefs offense could not do anything this game. I think they had 20 something yards, 24, maybe 34. I think it was 24 yards at halftime. They were down 24-0. And again, the Chiefs defense was keeping them in it early. They just couldn't do anything. It's like, all right, yep, here come the Chiefs. The Eagles defense steps up. The Chiefs defense did a really good job with Barkley. He only had 57 rush yards and 25 carries. It's only 2.3 yards per carry. I think his longest rush is like 7 yards. They did a good job playing Hurts on design runs for a couple plays, but Hurts outside of that, when he improvised scrambled, had a really good game. Excuse me here. Yeah, it was 24-0. I mean, the Eagles, I was talking about the Chiefs with the ref bias. I was interested in how this game got officiated. What happens? Eagles get the ball, they get a first down, and they go for it on fourth down on their opening drive. A.J. Brown, deep shot connects, they throw a flag. I'm like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. I'm like, here we go. Here we go. The Eagles' opening drive, they're going to throw a ridiculously blatant bad flag. They called OPI and Brown one of the worst calls I've ever seen. No OPI whatsoever. And I'm like, here we go. Here comes the refs to bail the Chiefs out again, trying to make them three-peat. And as soon as that happened, I immediately went on Twitter, and everyone was just, rigged was up already almost the number one trend. KC refs was trending, things like that. Everyone's making memes about it. I'm in a big group chat with a bunch of people in fantasy. It's like friggin' almost, I think there's like 12 people in that chat. And immediately when that happened, one of our friends sent a picture of the ref with the KC jersey on. He's like, here we go. That was kind of funny. But outside of that, the refs didn't call anything egregious for KC, except I will say, I think it happened 3 times. Elliott had 3 field goal attempts. It looked like offsides on the Chiefs, and they called a false start on the Eagles. The first one seemed bad, and it was only when it was 7-0, and it moved it back 5 yards. It was a pretty long field goal, and Elliott, I think, just snuck it in there. So I'm like, here we go. If he would have missed that, it would have been 7-0. The Chiefs would have had good field position. I'm like, yep, here we go. The refs would have just, made a pretty crucial call in Kansas City's favor to give him some momentum. But thankfully, Elliott made it. It was 10-0. The other 2, it looks like offsides to me, but, whatever. The Eagles won, so that's all that matters. The Chiefs actually finally got some penalties on them. What's one of them? Eagles. It was 0-0, and it was going to be 4th and medium, and I forget where they were at the field. They might have gone. I think they would have punted. I think it was like 4th and 4 or something like that, midfield, somewhere around there. And they called an unnecessary roughness to Goddard, kind of questionable, but maybe a makeup call for the ridiculously bad flag they threw on A.J. Brown. Eagles ended up scoring 7-0. And, they went right down the field. Their opening drive, too, just got screwed with the bad flag. So the Eagles offense was really moving the ball, too. And at one point, it was like when the Eagles were up 10-0, I think they had 110 yards or something like that. And the Chiefs had I think like four or something, maybe like 9 yards, something like that. Their first play of the game, the Chiefs, they ran, I think it was an RPO I think it was an RPO or play action to Juju. He ended up getting it first down. I'm pretty sure that was their only first down of the entire half. Maybe they got some on their last drive. That was another thing. 3rd and 11, Chiefs down 24-0, is trying to get something going. Hopkins dropped a wide open pass. And I'm like, that is so satisfying because those types of plays have been what has been benefiting the Chiefs, meaning their opponent has a play that happens to them when they're playing the Chiefs. So I'm like, it's so ironic that a team that just had what I think, again, is the single luckiest season in the history of sports is finally running out of luck and having unlucky things happen to them. Um, so yeah, Chiefs offense could do nothing. It was 10-0. Mahomes, who I think played an awful game, one of the worst games, maybe his worst game he's ever played, threw a pick six to Cooper DeJean. No one even in the air. I don't know who the hell he was throwing to. Then literally his next pass was picked, and he got hit on the throw, but it was picked off. He also had a fumble late. And again, that was maybe desperation. They were down, a million points, trying to make a deep play, deep shot to Worthy, and got strip sack, fumbled it. Um, but yeah, it was 24-0 at halftime. Most people thought the game was over. I'm like, all right, again, Chiefs, luckiest team in sports history. Who knows? Uh, the Chiefs got the ball coming out of the half, like a couple first downs. Eagles defense stepped up. They ended up getting a field goal, and then they stopped the Chiefs again. I'm like, okay, yeah, now I think the game's over. That the Chiefs' first two drives netted 0 points. It's almost fourth quarter. I'm like, I think this is probably over. Um, I went to the stats here. Mahomes, again, super misleading. He played awful. One of the worst games I've seen a quarterback play in my entire life. He just looked rattled. And people are blaming the line. The line did not play well, but Mahomes has a tendency to do this, very evident in this game. He steps up into pressure and gets sacked. Did that multiple times this game. Let me see if I can find my I don't know, I still have my note here with his okay, yep, here we go. So just to show how misleading the stat line is, I think he finished like a 95 passer rating. I mean, you just look at the stat line, you're gonna think Mahomes played a pretty solid game. Uh, with 6 minutes left before garbage time, the garbage time stat padding, when they were down 40-6 with 6 minutes left. The Eagles put in their backups, played prevent defense. Before that, Mahomes was 12 of 22, 148 yards, one touchdown, two picks, one of them being a pick six and a fumble. He had a 55 or 52.5 passer rating before garbage time. So yeah, that's more of a stat line than that for Mahomes. This stat line is misleading. Mahomes played awful. She said no run game whatsoever. Again, they were down a bunch, so they couldn't really run the ball. Mahomes to the leading rusher with 25 yards. The one positive for the Chiefs is Worthy had a really good game. He caught the touchdown at the end of the third quarter. Then he had a touchdown, right at the end of the game. It was a really nice pass from Mahomes to Worthy's deep shot. It was like, seeing Tyreek Hill back on the Chiefs. Um, so that was good for the Chiefs. That's the one positive for them. Worthy played a really good game. He looked good as the year progressed. Really good development from him. Definitely can be a weapon. Kelce did nothing. He played awful. Satisfying to see his arrogant ass play awful. He also had a drop early on, and Mahomes, throwing behind him, things like that. They were just off sync. I was worried Kelce might have a big game, so thank God he didn't. Yeah, Chiefs did very little in the receiving game. Hopkins caught a touchdown again. That was one of the first of the two garbage time touchdowns. Kind of caught a nice pass on a 2 point conversion. Not a nice pass, but he had a nice throw, or nice throw. What the hell am I saying? He had a nice catch on the 2 point conversion. But yeah, very little from the Chiefs receivers there. Hurts played a really good game, won Super Bowl MVP. he really only had two passes that I didn't think were very good. Obviously, the pick, he kind of just threw it up under pressure. And this was when it was 7-0. The game is obviously very much in play. Excuse me here. And he had a bad pass, got picked off, could have taken all the momentum, maybe give the Chiefs some momentum. But again, Eagles defense forced a 3-and-out. They got the ball right back after that. And then he had another pass. It was just a short pass, or like the pass was short, and it looked like just a go route from AJ Brown on 3rd and 3. That led to the field goal I was talking about. Then when it was 10-0, they called the questionable false start on the Eagles when it looked like offsides on the Chiefs. Besides that, Hurts played a phenomenal game. And he went off, I mean, not went off, but he had a really good rushing day too. Had a rushing touchdown that pushed the tush push on their first drive, or their second drive technically. Would have scored on the first drive if the Chiefs didn't get a ridiculous flag in their favor on AJ Brown. But yeah, Hurts balled out. I thought he could have a big game. I thought they might pass more than they, you know, I thought they might pass more than people were expecting them to. Excuse me here. Um, Dying over here. I thought they might pass more than people were expecting them to than they have all year. Again, 22 pass attempts from Hurts, not a lot, but more than they have been at least in the playoffs. It feels like, at least it feels like. But Hurts balled out, Super Bowl MVP. Good for Hurts. He balled out against them 2 years ago when they lost the Super Bowl. So I mean, two Super Bowls he's put up 75 points against the Chiefs. So good for Hurts balling out. Pickett, again, in garbage time, he attended one pass. It was a 4th down. And, the Chiefs being the losers that they are when they're down 100 with 2 minutes left in the game, they're taking their timeout to try to get the ball back to pad Mahomes' stats, disguise that he played like fucking dog shit the entire game. Uh, yeah, Pickett, it was 4th and 6. It's an incomplete pass. Yeah, Hurts had a good rushing day. Again, Barkley I mentioned didn't do too much. See, I talked about it. This was the problem for the Chiefs defensively. Are they going to try to focus on stopping Saquon? Because if they do that, they're going to leave the receivers, in single coverage. Eagles feasting man coverage. That's kind of what they went with. It felt like, and Hurts torched them. Let's see. Yeah, Devontae Smith. I mentioned it in my Super Bowl preview. He has the most receiving yards per game against the Chiefs in the Chiefs franchise history. In a minimum of, I think it was 3 games. He had 69 yards. Nice. Along with a touchdown, was a deep shot that really put the game away. It made it 34-0. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Yeah. It was a play action deep shot right after the Eagles defense stopped the Chiefs on 4th down. A.J. Brown only had 3 catches, but they were some pretty big catches, too. It was when the game was in play early on. He had a touchdown, too, to make it 24-0. Should have had 4 to, yeah, he would have had 4 if he got that catch, not with the flag thrown against him, negated. That shouldn't have even happened, but that's okay. Again, the team stats here, again, maybe a bit misleading, especially yards per play. The Chiefs offense certainly did not outplay the Eagles offense. It's just because I think the deep touchdown to Worthy at the end padded that stat there for the Chiefs. But yeah, I mean, total yards, Eagles outgained by a good amount. Again, more than the score shows on the statistics show comparing the two teams here. Again, passing yards, she's down 100. We're attempting more passes. Eagles sucked the run game, even though it wasn't really working. Rush yards, Eagles killed them in. Excuse me again. Eagles had 9 more first downs. Neither team was very great on 3rd down. And again, the Chiefs defense, they didn't play good, but they, I don't think they certainly were not the reason they lost the game. It's a good way to put it. They didn't play great, but again, they looked good through portions of this game. Total plays, that's a good stat. The Eagles had 21 more plays. Sacks allowed, yep, that's a big stat. The Chiefs had 6 sacks on Mahomes, or allowed 6 sacks on Mahomes. They had 6 punts. The penalty yardage, I talked about again the Chiefs, and this is another thing. I talked about the D Hop drop that it's ironic because that's been happening with the Chiefs playing their opponents getting drops like that, for example. Eagles were it was second and 20. Again, I think it was only 10-0 at this point, so the game's well in play. I think they ended up punting after, or no, maybe it was 17. It was 17-0. It was second and 20. They were running a screen to Barkley. The play was blown up. It was going to be third and 20, so the Eagles probably would have just ran it something considered a wide receiver screen, got some yardage, make the punt, bit easier, whatever, however you want to phrase it. And Nick Bolton got an unnecessary roughness that led to a first down when that drive is pretty much completely killed. Stuff like that has been benefiting the Chiefs all year. So again, another ironic example of it going against them. Yep, fumbles lost. I mentioned. Yep, yeah, I mentioned that fumble. Mahomes with the late taking a deep shot, got strip sacked. It was like 9 minutes left. The picks, I mentioned the Hurts one, then the two Mahomes ones. Time session, pretty telling stat. Eagles won by about 14 minutes if you round up there. So some of these stats are pretty telling, but I think some of them are also misleading with the garbage time scores and yardage gain for the Chiefs. But yeah, such a satisfying game. And Mahomes has played awful. If you in the Super Bowls, the only one he has not played awful in is the first Eagles Super Bowl, and that one he played good in that. I'll even say he played great in that one, but he didn't even have 200 yards. He had I think only 199 in that game. And I guess you can argue Brady, I think, had 205 in Super Bowl 55, but Brady, to me, played better in that game than Mahomes in the Super Bowl against the Eagles 2 years ago. Excuse me here. Um, so I'll just go Super Bowl. So Super Bowl. So his first one against the Niners, he played awful until about 6 minutes left, and they made their comeback. He played really good, but I think he still only had like a 78 passer rating. One Super Bowl MVP though, because he's Mahomes. The Bucs game played one of the worst games quarterbacks ever played that I've seen play, and I think he played better in that game than this game. That game he had some drops and stuff, so his stats probably should have been a bit better that game, but still, I don't think Mahomes played well at all that game. Obviously, mentioned that Eagles Super Bowl I was just talking about against the Niners last year. I don't think he played great. I think he played a good game, but I don't think he played great. Then this game he played awful. He has more picks than Brady he has more picks in the Super Bowl than Tom Brady, and Tom Brady has double his appearances, and Mahomes already has more picks. And Mahomes also has uh, 6 fumbles, I believe, either 5 or 6 fumbles in the Super Bowl. This is the only one he lost was in this game. But my point is, Mahomes has played subpar, and that's being, I think, generous in the Super Bowls he's been in. So another ridiculous thing that people were, trying to negate the ridiculous GOAT debate people were having. But yeah, just such a satisfying game. The Eagles certainly deserved it. Again, everything I was talking about in my Super Bowl preview, saying how on paper this honestly should be a comfortable Eagles when it played out like that. It looked like the 16th ranked offense in the Chiefs against the number one ranked defense in Philly, and it looked like I think the Eagles had the 7th ranked offense against the Chiefs' 9th ranked offense or defense rather. Yeah, and again, the Chiefs defense didn't play awful, I don't think, but they certainly didn't play great. It was more so the offense. And again, the offense kept stalling out, putting pressure on the Chiefs defense. Maybe they're tired. So maybe that's why you can argue too that the Chiefs defense didn't play too great. I definitely think it's more on the offense, though, for the Chiefs. So thank God the Eagles won, saved us from the insufferable three-peat. The ridiculous offseason narratives we would have had to deal with just would have been absolutely insufferable. So thank you, Eagles. Again, Eagles, very interesting year. Even though they were 2-2, people wanted Sirianni gone. And then after that, they went undefeated except the one loss against Washington, which that kind of just felt like they were a due for a loss game. And hurt. I think they were on a 10-game win streak. Devontae Smith dropped that pass. It pretty much would have iced it. Hurts got hurt in that game, or in the pun. So even that game, maybe they got a bit unfortunate to lose that game. You can say maybe they got fortunate to win some of the games they did. It's a counter to that. But yeah, Eagles certainly were a better team. Even if they lost this game, I think they would have been a better team than the Chiefs were this year. And again, I think the Chiefs were a middle of the pack team this year. They just got extremely fortunate and lucky things to bounce their way, which is why they won 15 regular season games. I mean, all the entire season, they're getting outgained in yards. You know, they're getting out gained in this category and that category. They're just winning ugly the whole year. Their offense not just stalling out for most of the game, then their defense keeping it, and the offense finally figuring out. They're just winning ugly the whole year, not looking very pretty, and it finally caught up to them. And it is so satisfying to see this arrogant, toxic team get humbled. God, it was so satisfying. Except Joe Thuney, my old guy from the Patriots. Love him. But besides that, can't stand the Chiefs. Excuse me. I don't know why I'm dying over you. My throat's killing me. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this game. So yeah, this is kind of my last solo video on the 2024 season. So again, this is my first time, my first season doing a YouTube channel, making all the content. Every week I did my predictions, and I did do a weekly recap. So I did that from week 1 on to the Super Bowl, week 1 to the Super Bowl. So quite a kind of a grind, but happy to do it. Love football. So again, thank you guys for joining me on my journey here. I'm not done or anything like that. I plan on making a bunch of off-season content, doing my weekly podcast with Dylan, stuff like that. I certainly plan on doing this next season. So but yeah, thank you for tuning in, listening to me ramble on, rant, bitch about the Chiefs and how awful my Patriots were the entire season. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Listen to me all season, support me along the way. Appreciate it very much. And again, not done or anything like that. But yeah, just wanted to show some gratitude. Made it to the end of the season. And again, sorry this video is getting uploaded a bit late, but I've been super swamped. Hopefully you guys can understand. But hopefully you enjoyed this video, me complaining, celebrating the Chiefs losing. But anyway, I don't know why I just sound like I was going to cry. My throat is freaking killing me here, people. I'm going to end the video here. Certainly not going to cry at the result of the Super Bowl. Maybe tears of joy. And even though I hate the Eagles, my contract with them ended. I signed a 2-week contract to be an Eagles fan right after the Chiefs beat the Bills. It ended right as soon as Monday hit, midnight, Sunday, Monday hit, my Eagles fan contract ended. But I'll say congrats to my friends that are Eagles fans, Nick and Matt, if you guys are watching this video. Congrats. That's probably the last positive thing I'll say about the Eagles. But I guess they'll always hold a soft spot in my heart. Is that the phrase, the word I'm looking for? I don't know. For saving us from the Chiefs 3-peating and whooping their ass in the Super Bowl. So thank you, Philly. But again, thank you guys for tuning in, not just this video, but all season, for staying along with me for this ride, for letting me express my love for football, being a football junkie to everyone. So thanks for tuning in, for watching all year long. Thanks for tuning into this video. Again, be on the lookout for my videos. I'm planning on coming out with soon for the podcast we're doing every week, for all that good stuff. Thank you guys for tuning in. Fuck the Chiefs. Thank God. Thank you, Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly for this game. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a good one. Take it easy, guys.